When it comes to minimizing mastitis and lowering somatic cell counts, the area where you have the most control is your milking procedures. This is a critical step to maintaining maximum milk quality. The milking process should be consistent and cows should be milked at the same time every day. The primary goal of the milking process is to produce large quantities of a high-quality end product for consumers, minimize mastitis infections, milk clean, dry teats, and minimize stress on both cows and workers within the parlor. The first step is to understand the hows and whys of the milking process. Then you can determine what procedures best fit your individual dairy operation. Lastly, write these procedures down and post them where everyone involved in the milking process can see them. Operating procedures should be communicated to employees and periodically evaluated. These are the recommended best practices to consider. Number 1. Minimize stress. The milking process actually begins as cows enter the milking area or parlor. Bring them into the parlor calmly and gently. Hitting or yelling will cause them to become excited and stressed. Time in the holding pen should be minimized to less than 2 hours total per day. When cows are stressed, a hormone, adrenaline, is released into the bloodstream and interferes with the release of oxytocin from the cow's brain. Oxytocin is a hormone that is naturally released in the cow's body to signal for milk letdown. Without normal, timely milk letdown, the amount of milk you harvest may be reduced. Additionally, cows that are stressed are more likely to slip, fall, or defecate while entering the parlor. Number 2, wear gloves. Contagious mastitis-causing bacteria, like Staph aureus, may live on your hands and be transmitted between cows during milking. At minimum, hands should be thoroughly washed with soap and water before milking. Ideally, because bacteria are less likely to adhere to gloves than rough, callous skin, nitrile or latex gloves should be worn. Gloves minimize the spread of contagious mastitis between cows and help protect the milker's skin. They are also easier to disinfect than bare hands. Number 3, keep cows as clean as possible before they enter the milking area. Clean cows are not only exposed to fewer environmental mastitis pathogens, but they are also easier to clean prior to milking. If you feel the need to wash a high percentage of your cows, you may want to reconsider how your pastures or barns are managed to improve cow cleanliness. Dirt, manure, or debris can often be removed by hand or with a towel without the use of water. When cows are excessively dirty, some use of water may be necessary to clean the teats. However, this practice should be the exception and not the rule. If water is used, be sure to only wet the teats and not the entire udder, because it's nearly impossible to dry the udder and this water ends up being drawn into the inflations. Generally, the use of water in the parlor results in increased mastitis and higher bacteria levels in milk. Number 4, forestrip. Once the cow is in position and the milker's prepared, the first step in the actual process is generally forestripping. This involves manually removing a few streams or strips of milk from each teat. This process allows you to examine the milk for any signs of mastitis, including clotty, stringy, or watery milk. Also, forestripping helps to stimulate the teats and udder and encourage milk letdown. Effective stimulation helps increase milk flow rate and reduce milking unit time. Ideally, forestripping is accomplished using a strip cup. Milk may also be stripped onto the floor and hosed off immediately. Milk should not be stripped into the hand or towel because this would encourage the spread of mastitis between teats and between cows. Forestripping can be accomplished before or after pre-dipping, but absolutely must occur before drying. Often, forestripping and pre-dipping are accomplished in the same task within a routine to save time. To allow for adequate stimulation, this task should take about 10 to 20 seconds per cow. Number 5, pre-dip. Teats should be pre-dipped with a sanitizing solution. This eliminates bacteria on teat ends prior to milking and helps to control mastitis caused by environmental mastitis pathogens. When pre-dipping, at least 3/4 of the teat should be covered, with a goal of covering the entire teat. A non-return teat dip cup should be used to prevent contamination. The pre-dip should remain on the teats for at least 30 seconds before drying. Number 6. Dry. The teats should be thoroughly dried with a single-service absorbent cloth or paper towel. Never use the same towel on 2 cows. All debris, manure, and pre-dip residue on the teats should be removed while drying using a gentle twisting motion. During the drying process, particular emphasis should be placed on getting the teat ends clean and dry. If not adequately dried, water containing mastitis-causing bacteria may end up in the teat cups and expose the open teat ends to these bacteria. Ultimately, poorly dried teats result in increased incidence of mastitis. When using cloth towels, research has demonstrated that at least 2 of the following must occur during laundering: washing with detergent and sanitizer. 2. Using hot water above 140 degrees Fahrenheit. And number 3. Using a heated drying cycle. The 7th procedure is to timely attach the milking units. Oxytocin, which causes milk letdown, reaches peak levels at 60 seconds after stimulation. Therefore, milkers should be attached within 1 to 1.5 minutes after teat stimulation. The goal here is to coordinate milker attachment with milk letdown when milk flow is highest. Attaching too soon or too late can result in excessive milking time or reduced yield. Attach the milker without allowing excessive air into the milking system. Adjust the milking unit to hang squarely beneath the cow's udder and arrange it and the hoses to avoid any twisting. The milking units should be checked and adjusted to prevent liner slips throughout the process. When units are not aligned properly, too much milk will remain in the udder after milking, and teat cups may slip or squawk. When the teat cup liner slips, small droplets of milk may be forced back toward the end of the teat. If these droplets of milk contain mastitis-causing organisms, they may enter the udder and result in a new infection. Number 8. Milking units may be removed manually or with automatic takeoffs or detachers. With either process, avoid overmilking, which can increase the incidence of liner slips and lead to teat end damage. Adjust automatic takeoffs to ensure they do not stay on too long. Additionally, milkers should resist the temptation to override the automatic detachment by putting the milker back on. When teat cups are removed manually, be sure to shut the vacuum off before removal. Removing teat cups while under vacuum can lead to increased infections and tissue damage. The process of machine stripping or holding down on individual teat cups or milking clusters should be avoided. Properly stimulated cows milked with correctly functioning and attached units should not have excessive residual milk left in the udder. And number 9, post-dip. As soon as possible after the milking units are removed, teats should be dipped with a post-dip, demonstrated to be an effective germicide through independent research. As with pre-dipping, the goal should be to cover at least 3/4 of the teat. An effective post-dip kills organisms on teats, prevents organisms from colonizing in the teat canal, and reduces the rate of new infections from contagious mastitis pathogens. Teat dip cups should be kept clean. A non-return teat dip cup should be used to prevent teat dip contamination. Some dairy producers choose to spray teats rather than dip. While it is possible to adequately cover teats with a spray bottle, full coverage is often inadequate. A good way to test the effectiveness of post-dipping is to wrap a paper towel around the teat just after dipping. The goal is to see a continuous streak of teat dip on the paper towel, indicating the entire teat was covered. With spraying, you will often find broken streaks of teat dip because the opposite side of the teat is not covered. We hope you find these milking procedures improve the milk quality of your dairy. Extension, research, and academics at the University of Kentucky College of Agriculture.